So picture yourself standing at the kitchen sink, right? You're staring down this dirty coffee mug.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
You've got the sponge in one hand, soap in the other. It's late, you're tired, and the stakes of this moment feel completely, well, non-existent.
Totally. It's just a chore.
Exactly. You wash the mug simply so you have a vessel for tomorrow morning's caffeine. It's this tiny, isolated blip on the radar of your day.
Right. It's like the absolute definition of mundane maintenance. You're really just, keeping the baseline of your life running. There is no grand narrative attached to scrubbing a ceramic rim.
But imagine if, like right as you apply the soap, you were handed a completely different framework for reality.
Okay.
Imagine being told that the specific amount of care you put into washing that mug, the exact level of perfection you strive for in that quiet, solitary moment, is directly tied to the fundamental laws of the universe.
Wow.
Yeah. That the way you wipe away that coffee stain literally dictates the widening or narrowing of your entire future trajectory.
That immediately strips away the illusion that any action is truly isolated. Suddenly, the kitchen sink isn't just a place to clean dishes. It's a testing ground for your fundamental character.
It really is. And welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a super fascinating text from 2021. It's titled, "Completing Every Little Thing Perfectly Makes You Extraordinary."
It's quite a title.
It is. It's an essay written by an author in his 60s named Su Feng, and it was edited by Kinyu. We have this piece of source material right in front of us, and the mission here is to trace the author's incredibly rapid escalation of stakes.
Yeah, the escalation is wild.
It really is. He takes the most standard, everyday interpersonal interactions and just, scales them up into a profound, almost cosmic system of causality.
Right, because the author is looking back over a half-century of life experience. He isn't offering like a productivity hack to help you clear your inbox faster.
No, definitely not an inbox hack.
Right. He is presenting this rigid, uncompromising philosophical framework that demands a total reframing of your relationship with the physical world, your social circles, and ultimately your own unseen digital footprint.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the cosmic stakes, we really have to start where the author starts, which is grounded in the dirt of everyday relationships.
Yeah, the everyday stuff.
The core premise is right there in the title. Becoming extraordinary isn't about grand, sweeping gestures. It is about the obsessive perfection of the microscopic details of your daily life.
And he begins by looking at the family unit, actually. Blood relatives, parents, siblings, your spouse, your in-laws.
The people closest to us.
Exactly. And we often treat these relationships as a ledger, right? Like we keep a mental scoreboard.
Oh, for sure. Like if I cook dinner, you do the dishes.
Yes. Or if I compromise on holiday plans this year, well, you owe me next year.
Right. The classic holiday negotiation.
But Xu Feng demands that you burn the scoreboard entirely.
He explicitly instructs the reader to make others feel secure and comfortable by giving more and enjoying less. And doing that without ever expecting a reward.
Never.
And he doesn't mean that in a casual, like, hey, try to be nice kind of way. He insists that you completely abandon the concept of personal interests within these dynamics.
Which is, frankly, incredibly difficult to execute in practice. I mean, the psychological friction of dropping that mental scoreboard is massive.
It goes against our nature, right?
Yeah, human beings are deeply wired for reciprocity. We crave fair exchange. But the author is arguing that this craving for fairness is exactly what keeps us ordinary.
Interesting.
By choosing to give your utmost effort simply to do things well, without waiting for the reciprocal payoff, you are fundamentally altering your operating system.
I mean, I could sort of wrap my head around applying that radical selflessness to a spouse or a parent.
Yeah.
There's a foundation of love there.
Sure.
But where this text really tests its own limits is when Xu Feng applies this exact same philosophy to the workplace.
Oh, the workplace section is intense.
Yeah, it is. He addresses young people entering the workforce, and his rules here are absolutely militant.
They really are. He draws no distinction between working for a private business owner or working as a civil servant for the government. The venue just does not matter.
Well, he goes much further than saying the venue doesn't matter. He claims your boss's character does not matter.
Right.
Your salary does not matter. The working environment does not matter.
Yeah.
He tells the reader to never, ever think about whether your effort is proportional to your pay.
He essentially presents a binary choice. If the situation is intolerable, you quit and leave. That is your right.
Okay, that's fair.
But if you choose to stay, there is no middle ground. There is no quiet quitting. There is no dialing back your effort to match a subpar salary.
Wow.
If you stay, you must put your heart and soul into doing the job perfectly.
Okay, I have to throw a flag on the play here.
Go for it.
I just cannot accept that at face value. I mean, we live in a world where workplace exploitation is a very real thing. If I am working for a genuinely terrible boss who steals my wages, or I am trapped in a totally toxic environment, putting in 100% perfect effort while detaching from my own compensation, that sounds like a masterclass in making yourself a willing victim.
It does sound like that, yeah.
So how does the author justify what sounds like a recipe for severe, agonizing burnout?
What's fascinating here is Feng completely bypasses the concept of exploitation by shifting the locus of control entirely inward.
Inward.
Yeah, he resolves the tension of the terrible boss by essentially erasing the boss from the psychological equation.
Wait, how do you erase the person who is literally writing your paycheck?
By redefining who the work is actually for, the text explicitly states that you should never think you are working for your boss, or working for your country, or working for the company.
Okay.
If you attach your effort to an external entity, you are a hostage to their validation. If they don't praise you or pay you enough, your motivation collapses.
Right, because you're expecting that fair exchange.
True.
Exactly. Feng argues that you are simply using the mundane tasks of that job to express your own best qualities.
I'm trying to visualize this. So if I am tasked with writing a mundane report, right,
Okay.
and my manager is an absolute nightmare who probably won't even read it.
Typical scenario.
Yeah, I don't write a perfect report for the manager.
Mm-hmm.
I write a perfect report because the act of writing it perfectly is a reflection of my own internal architecture.
Precisely. The bad boss is reduced to nothing more than the weather.
The weather.
Yeah, you don't get angry at the rain for being wet, right? It's just the environment you happen to be standing in. Your focus is entirely on maintaining the integrity of your own umbrella.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You are perfecting the task because doing the task perfectly is the definition of your own extraordinary nature. The task is a canvas. The boss is completely irrelevant.
That is a staggering paradigm shift. It completely severs the transactional nature of human labor.
It really does.
You aren't exchanging effort for reward. You are just manifesting perfection for its own sake. But, sitting with that for a second, that requires an unbelievable amount of mental endurance.
Oh, absolutely.
If I am putting in this immense selfless effort and my boss is terrible and my family isn't reciprocating and I am receiving absolutely zero validation from the physical world around me, why do it?
Right. What's the point?
Yeah. The human mind needs a feedback loop to sustain that kind of behavior over a lifetime.
And that question of, why do it if no earthly person appreciates it, is the exact pivot point of the essay. This is where Feng introduces the cosmic stakes.
Here we go.
Because his answer is that someone or something is appreciating it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the text introduces the concept of unseen observers.
Yes. Feng shares what he describes as a secret he discovered after becoming a guide in Lifechanyuan.
We should pause on that term for a second. For you listening, Lifechanyuan essentially refers to the specific philosophical and spiritual framework or community that the author founded. It translates roughly to a life Zen garden. It's the lens through which he views the cosmos and human existence. And through this lens, he claims to have discovered something deeply unsettling.
Unsettling is a good word for it. He reveals that there are one or several pairs of eyes constantly watching you. At all times.
Constantly. As in, when you are standing alone in your kitchen at 2 a.m., washing that coffee mug,
Yep.
and you are entirely convinced that no human being on Earth knows what you are doing, you are still actively being observed.
And the text is very specific about the nature of these watchers. They are not your peers. They are never beings of a lower or equal level to you.
Okay, so who are they?
The author describes them as more advanced, outstanding entities.
So we have an invisible, advanced audience.
Yeah.
And they aren't just passively eating popcorn and watching your life like a sitcom.
Right. Definitely not.
They possess absolute authority over your trajectory. The text claims these unseen watchers are the exact mechanism that determines whether your future path will widen or narrow.
And this is the missing incentive structure we were looking for earlier.
Right.
The reason you don't need your boss's validation or your spouse's immediate gratitude is because you are continually performing for a much higher, much more critical authority.
Okay, so if you fail to do the small things perfectly, like if you leave the kitchen sink a mess or if you mentally check out at work,
These advanced beings narrow your path. Opportunities vanish. Life becomes harder.
conversely, if you execute every little thing with perfect, selfless intention, they widen your path.
Exactly.
But I have to dig into the psychological vibe of this framework.
Let's do it.
Is the idea of an advanced, invisible board of directors evaluating your every solitary move supposed to be comforting? Or is it a terrifying, ultimate surveillance state where you can't even allow yourself to be messy for 5 minutes in your own home?
That's the million-dollar question. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really mirrors the concept of the panopticon.
The panopticon, right?
Yeah, the philosopher Jeremy Bentham designed this theoretical prison where the inmates could be watched by a single guard at any moment, but the inmates could never see the guard.
So they don't know when they're being watched.
Right. And because they never knew exactly when they were being watched, they had to assume they were always being watched.
Wow.
Over time, the inmates internalize the guard. They start policing their own behavior.
Because integrity, as the old saying goes, is what you do when no one is watching.
But Shifeng is abolishing the very concept of no one is watching. He is stating that isolation is an illusion. You are never acting in a vacuum.
That is heavy.
It is. Whether a reader interprets these advanced beings literally, as angels, aliens, or spiritual entities, or metaphorically as the universe's law of cause and effect, the psychological result is identical.
Living as if higher-level entities are evaluating your quietest moments enforces a completely uncompromising standard of personal integrity.
Yes, it acts as a massive behavioral guardrail.
It anchors the radical selflessness. If you truly believe the universe is actively judging the quality of your hidden effort, then skipping corners on a report for a bad boss isn't punishing the boss.
No, not at all.
It is actively sabotaging your own cosmic standing.
Exactly. It makes every single mundane action a high-stakes performance of your own character.
But, the author doesn't stop at mere observation. Being watched in real time is one thing. Memories fade.
Do.
But the text introduces a mechanism that ensures these observations are permanent. This is where the essay moves from a spiritual panopticon into something much more rigorous and absolute.
Because observation without a record allows for ambiguity. Shuifeng removes all ambiguity by introducing a concept he calls the information retention space.
The information retention space.
Yeah.
The text claims that absolutely every single word spoken and every single action taken by a person is recorded in this space without omission, flawlessly.
And the defining characteristic of this space is its terrifying permanence.
Terrifying is right.
The author insists that even if tens of thousands of years pass, or even if the physical Earth itself ceases to exist, the records within this space will survive.
Wait, really? Even if the Earth is gone?
Yep. Once an action is executed, once a word leaves your mouth, it is finalized. It is mathematically impossible to alter or erase it.
It functions like the ultimate eternal blockchain.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
If you think about how a blockchain works like, a digital ledger where every transaction is verified and permanently locked into the chain, Sufeng is applying that exact concept to morality and human behavior.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Every time you speak, every time you act, you are minting a new block on the ledger of your own existence. There is no delete button.
Nope.
There is no customer service desk to call and ask for a do-over. Whatever data you put into that ledger outlasts the planet.
This raises an important question about how we interact with the modern world. Because Fifeng doesn't just leave this information retention space as some abstract, mystical dimension floating in the ether.
Right, he doesn't just keep it philosophical.
No, he aggressively grounds it in our current everyday technology.
He specifically calls out the digital age. He talks about the internet and platforms like WeChat.
Right. He recognizes that the digital world provides us with a vast, unprecedented arena to showcase our thoughts, our talents, and our reactions.
Yeah, we are constantly broadcasting.
But because he believes the information retention space is capturing all of this data permanently, he issues a massive warning regarding how we conduct ourselves online.
He states that every single message we send in a WeChat group, every comment we leave on the broader internet, is actively paving the road to our future.
And he does not mince words here.
No, he doesn't. The language becomes incredibly stark. He says that speaking and doing things perfectly paves the way to heaven, but speaking and acting in an ugly way paves the road to hell.
Think about the secular anxiety we already carry regarding our digital footprint,
Oh,
right?
that's a huge stressor.
We all know the fear of a bad tweet or a thoughtless text message resurfacing to ruin a career 5 years down the line. We know the internet never forgets. What Suefeng is doing is taking that modern technological anxiety and elevating it to the level of spiritual permanence.
Like, we worry about a screenshot getting us fired.
Yeah.
He is saying that the screenshot is being archived by advanced beings in a space that will outlast the solar system.
Exactly.
And it is being used to determine your spiritual destination. That is a heavy burden to place on a text message.
It is heavy, but it operates on a very clean, fundamental law of physics: input equals output.
Input equals output.
Yeah. The author argues that whatever information you input into the world fundamentally determines what results the world will feed back to you. It's a closed-loop system of causality.
Let's trace the mechanics of that closed-loop system just to make sure we've got it.
Sure.
If I am in a bad mood, I go into a group chat and start firing off complaints, gossip, or half-hearted, cynical arguments.
Yeah.
I am inputting ugly data into the information retention space.
Correct.
The universe, via these watchers, receives that data. And because input equals output, the universe feeds me back a narrowed path, a path toward hell, in his terminology.
Conversely, if your input is perfect effort, if you are actively trying to make others feel secure, if you are demonstrating radical selflessness, even when you are hiding behind an anonymous avatar online.
You are inputting high-quality data.
Exactly. The system reads that data, and the feedback loop widens your path toward heaven.
It is the ultimate gamification of morality, but with permanent consequences.
Yeah, that's a really good way to frame it.
And this connects all the threads we've been unraveling. This is exactly why he insists on perfection in the microscopic, mundane things. The small things aren't just chores. They are data points.
They're the constant stream of information you are feeding into the retention space every single second of your waking life.
You cannot control the macro events of the world, but you have absolute control over the micro inputs you generate.
Yes.
So we have taken quite a journey with this text.
We really have.
We started with the physical act of washing a coffee mug. We moved into the psychological warfare of giving 100% effort for a terrible boss without expecting a reward. We discovered an invisible audience of advanced beings auditing our solitary moments. And finally, we arrived at an eternal cosmic blockchain where our text messages are permanently archived to dictate our path to heaven or hell.
It is a breathtaking escalation. But what makes the essay so compelling is how these massive, intimidating concepts force us to re-examine our immediate daily reality.
Yeah, they really bring it all back down to earth.
The author concludes his thoughts by hammering home the idea that our words and actions are a direct, flawless mirror of our inner world and our life qualities.
He is begging the reader to stay vigilant.
Yeah.
Because it is so easy to go on autopilot, you know.
Oh, completely.
We speak thousands of words a day. We make hundreds of tiny decisions. But Shifeng Seng reminds us that sometimes a single word spoken carelessly or one tiny action done poorly can drastically change the trajectory of someone else's life.
And collectively, when you aggregate all of those small words and tiny actions over decades, they form the inescapable trajectory of your own life. Pursuing perfection in the small things isn't about being seen as a good employee or a polite neighbor. It is the very mechanics of how an extraordinary existence is constructed. Brick by tiny brick, data point by data point.
It's an empowering realization, really.
Yeah.
Because it means you have agency, you have control over your inputs.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is also deeply sobering. There is no downtime in this philosophy. There are no throwaway moments where you get to just be lazy and unaccountable.
Right.
Every single second matters.
So what does this all mean for you, listening to this right now? How do you take a framework this intense and apply it to the next hour of your day?
Well, it means looking at whatever mundane task is sitting right in front of you, whether it's replying to a frustrating email, folding laundry, or walking into a meeting, and realizing it carries cosmic weight.
It means engaging with the physical and digital world with the absolute assumption that your actions are seen, recorded, and impactful.
It means that the coffee mug in your sink isn't just a mug. It's an opportunity to prove your own extraordinary nature to a universe that is paying very close attention.
Yeah, it really reframes everything.
And it leaves us with a lingering, slightly uncomfortable question to think about as we wrap up.
I love a good uncomfortable question.
Right. If every small action and every casual digital message is a permanent brick paving your path to either a wider, heavenly future or a narrow, ugly one,
Uh-huh.
what exactly did you just build with the last text you had sent on?
Oh, man. That is a question definitely worth sitting with before you draft the next one.
We'll leave you to think about that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next time with more.